Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. In this video, I'm going to be going through this silly allegation that a sheep ate a part of the Qur'an. But I'm not just going to be focusing on that. I'm also going to be demonstrating the gap between me and David Wood. Roll it.
It was narrated that Aisha said, "The verse of stoning and of breastfeeding an adult 10 times was revealed, and the paper was with me under my pillow. When the Messenger of Allah died, we were preoccupied with his death, and a tame sheep came in and ate it." The 7th century version of "the dog ate my homework" was apparently "a sheep ate my Quran verses."
Firstly, I want to deal with this silly idea that the Qur'an was lost because of a sheep. Did this happen? No, it didn't. For this to have been the cause, we would need to assume that nobody had this verse memorized. And this verse was indeed memorized and known by the companions. We actually do have examples in which Umar, Ubay, Zayd bin Thabit, and others have quoted it. More importantly though, did a sheep really eat some of the Qur'an? I do not believe that it did, and here's my evidence. You need to focus here, David, alright? I'm going to try to keep it simple. We have a chain of narrations. Aisha, she narrates a hadith to Amra. Amra narrates it to Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr. Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr narrates it to two people, Malik and Ibn Ishaq. When Malik narrates the hadith, he says that suckling was abrogated. When Ibn Ishaq narrates it, he narrates that adult suckling was eaten by sheep. Notice the differences. There are 4 possibilities here. Either Malik was correct, Ibn Ishaq was correct, both were correct, or both were wrong. Is there any supporting proof for any of these conclusions? Yes. Yahya bin Sa'id narrates the same hadith in the same way Malik does. So far so good? There's more. Another chain. Aisha narrates a hadith to Amra. Amra narrates it to Al-Qasim bin Muhammad, who narrates it to his son Abdurrahman, who narrates it to 2 people, Hamad bin Salama and Ibn Ishaq again. When Hamad narrates the hadith, he says the suckling verse was abrogated. When Ibn Ishaq narrates the hadith, he narrates that adult suckling was eaten by a sheep. Again, notice the differences. Is it possible that Malik, Hamad, and Yahya were all mistaken? Unlikely, especially when we are aware that Malik and Yahya are top-tier narrators of hadith, unlike Ibn Ishaq. Due to this, the report was rejected. Now keep in mind, it wasn't rejected just now, it's been rejected 1,000 years ago by Jawrqani and other scholars. That is how you do an isnad analysis, David. That is how you study a hadith. Now let's just check out David's interpretation of this report.
The sheep didn't just eat the Quran verses on breastfeeding adults. It also ate the Quran verse on stoning adulteresses. Aisha was once accused of adultery, and if Muhammad hadn't received a special revelation proclaiming her innocence, she could have been stoned to death. The accusation of adultery was one of the reasons she became so careful about having her sister and nieces help her follow the breastfeeding rule. She was trying to protect herself. We don't need Sherlock Holmes to uncover Aisha's fear of the verse of stoning. And her sheep ate the only copy. Coincidence? No. Conspiracy.
So according to David Wood, Dr. David Wood, Aisha, who was acquitted of the allegation of adultery years ago, feared that the charge might come back, and therefore she got a sheep to eat a part of the Qur'an. There's a few issues with this theory. I can't believe I'm doing this, but the issues are: 1, she was already acquitted. 2, the verse of stoning was memorized by other companions. 3, the Sahaba continued to stone those that committed adultery regardless. For, and perhaps most ironically, Aisha herself taught the Muslims that those that commit adultery are to be stoned. So run along, David, you are not my class. And to the rest of you, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
I mean, I'm a diagnosed psychopath.